You've probably seen the headlines. Claims that Trump's federal worker layoffs are flooding the Northern Virginia housing market with new inventory, causing massive price drops and triggering a mass exodus. But is any of this true? Well, we're about to find out, because in this week's video, I'll break it all down and share with you what's really going on with the Northern Virginia housing market and what this means for buyers and sellers for the rest of 2025. And you're not going to want to miss it, so let's jump right into it. Boom! Hey everybody, it's David, your favorite realtor, and welcome back to another video. So if you're not familiar with what's going on with all these viral social media posts, check out this video from NBC4 Washington.
There's a viral social media post that is stoking fear and panic in homeowners. The post appears to show hundreds of homeowners putting their homes on the market because federal workers are getting laid off. Northern Virginia Bureau reporter Drew Wilder is digging into the story, and it turns out the post is fake.
Have you seen this post making the rounds on social media? It shows an explosion of houses hitting the market in Arlington County and Falls Church. The post suggests that President Trump and Elon Musk's slashing of the federal workforce is leading to a mass real estate sell-off and a mass exodus from Northern Virginia. The chief economist for the National Association of Realtors says this viral pic is bogus.
So let me give you a quick overview of the federal worker layoffs. So the Trump administration, along with Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, which is DOGE, have started significant layoffs and have also mandated a return to in-person work for federal employees. So far, approximately 10,000 federal employees have been laid off. In addition to that, around 77,000 federal employees have accepted buyout offers, leading to a total reduction of about 87,000 federal positions. So the 77,000 federal workers who accepted President Trump's buyouts will receive their full salary and full benefits with no work obligation all the way to September 30th of this year. So yes, 87,000 people losing their jobs. That is a very high number. But to put all this into context, federal workers are not just in the DMV area. When I say DMV, I'm talking about DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So federal workers are going to be spread throughout the entire country. Now, yes, the DMV area does have the highest concentration of federal workers, but most government agencies, they have offices or facilities across all 50 states. So according to WTOP News, the DMV area hosts about 20% of the total 2.4 million civilian federal employees. So 80% of those who are actually being affected by the layoffs live outside the DMV area. So there's no official numbers on how many of these layoffs actually occurred in our region, but let's say all 87,000 people lived in the DMV. So the DMV has an estimated population of 6.3 million people. So in this scenario, where all 87,000 people live in the DMV, only 1.38% of our total population would be affected by the layoffs. So the actual number is probably gonna be more like less than 0.5% are being affected by the layoffs. So this makes up a very small percentage of our total population. Now let's look at these social media posts that are all over the internet about the mass exodus from the DMV area and that home inventory is flooding the market. So I'm gonna show you 3 different posts from X, and just so you know, all these pages are by tinfoil hat wearing fearmongers. So just definitely keep that in mind. So the first post says 4,271 houses were put up for sale in just the last 14 days in Washington, D.C. The rats are running away. Well, this is definitely not true. In fact, I looked at the numbers, and the actual number is 544 homes went up for sale in the previous 14 days in Washington, D.C. The next post is, the DOGE team is causing a very real exodus from Washington, D.C. Housing listings are surging, over 14,000 in this snapshot alone. It's less of a market shift and more of a mass evacuation, like rats fleeing a sinking ship. Again, that 14,000 listings number, it is inaccurate. I looked it up. The DMV area currently has about 7,100 homes for sale. And this is gonna be the most viral post of them all, which actually has 11 million views. Well, this post says, the wildest is happening near Washington, D.C. Here is Arlington, Virginia. Everything is being put on the market. So all of these posts are 100% inaccurate. So an influx of new listings hitting the market and a mass exodus from the region simply is not true. It's not even close to the truth. And think about it. When someone gets fired, laid off, or takes a buyout, they don't just automatically put their home for sale literally the next day and move to Texas. That is simply not reality, but these are what these posts are suggesting. Now let's look at this great article posted by Bright MLS, which is our local MLS, on what's really happening in the greater DC region. So this article by Bright, which was posted on February 17, 2025, is called An Update on the DC Area Housing Market. So let me highlight some of this article. So it starts off by saying recent reports are suggesting there has been a surge of new listing activity in the DC area housing market, which some are pointing to as evidence of an exodus of federal employees from the region. Then it says, based on our listing data, we're not seeing any evidence of a surge of listing activity in the Washington, D.C. region. Then it states that there were 2,829 new listings that came onto the market in the 2-week period between February 3rd and February 16th of this year, which is virtually unchanged from the same 2 weeks last year when there were 2,820 new listings on the market. So let's check out this graph right here where it goes over the new listings by county and city for the first half of February, comparing 2024 to 2025. For the greater DC region, in 2024, 2,820 listings hit the market the first half of February. Now compared to the same time frame this month, that number is basically identical at 2,829. So new listings that hit the market has definitely not exploded in our region and is basically identical to the same time frame last year. But what about home prices? Well, let's look at the numbers. So homes that have closed this year from January 1st to February 20th in Northern Virginia, well, the median sales price of those homes is $660,000. Now let's compare that to the same time frame last year, which is January 1st to February 20th of 2024, where the median sales price of those homes was $624,000. So home prices are up 5.77% compared to the same time frame last year. So despite social media speculation about a surge in inventory and massive price reductions due to federal worker layoffs, that is simply not the case, as home prices are actually up and new listings that hit the market is basically identical to last year. Now, what am I personally seeing being boots on the ground? So I mainly work in Loudoun County and Fairfax County, so I'm gonna focus on those two counties first. So I personally haven't seen much of a change at all, as still the best of the best homes are selling the first weekend with multiple offers and for above asking price. Also, I'm still seeing a lot of home buyers being extremely frustrated due to lack of inventory and bidding wars. Now, I'm not saying every single home sells first weekend with multiple offers, but a high percentage of homes are. So I can't really share with you a boots on the ground report with Arlington County, but if any areas can be affected by the layoffs, it's gonna be Arlington County, as it has the highest concentration of federal workers. So I asked my colleague from my firm, Sean Battle, who specializes in Arlington County for over 20 plus years, and he also states it's been business as usual in Arlington, as the best of the best homes are getting multiple offers, and even some condos are getting multiple offers as well. So what do I foresee for the rest of 2025? So obviously I don't have a crystal ball. I cannot tell you exactly what the future holds. But I'm gonna give you my educated guess on what I believe will happen. But just so you know, I do plan to do a follow-up video on this topic later on in the year. Now, one thing I can say for certain is that these federal worker layoffs is gonna have some sort of impact on our housing market. But we're probably not gonna see the full impact of these layoffs until probably 2026. Now, due to these layoffs, throughout the year, there's gonna be a lot of people putting their homes on the market who initially had no plans on selling this year. So we are absolutely gonna see more listings hitting the market in 2025 compared to last year. But we will still be well short of our pre-pandemic inventory levels, kind of back when we had more of a normal housing market. And then naturally, buyer demand is gonna decrease as well, as a lot of people who are actually planning to buy a home in 2025 will not end up buying because maybe they were affected by the layoffs or all the uncertainty in our market. So they're gonna end up staying in their current residence. So throughout 2025, yes, we will have slightly more listings and slightly less buyer demand. But this will only slightly move the needle, and it's definitely not gonna be enough to cause a housing market crash anytime in the foreseeable future. So at worst, I would say home prices stay flat throughout 2025. So in the past 5 years, the Northern Virginia housing market hasn't just survived, it has thrived against some very tough obstacles like a global pandemic and 7+% interest rates. So we will overcome this obstacle as well of the federal worker layoffs. But with all that being said, we're not gonna see the full impact of the federal worker layoffs probably until 2026. So in the meantime, if I see any changes to the market, you know I'm gonna make a brand new video to keep you updated every step of the way. And if you wanna learn more about living right here in Northern Virginia, check out these videos right here. They're gonna be great ways to continue your research. And I'll see you in the next video.